Memphis and W253DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Oh, yeah.
It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
As I was walking down the street one day.
And a good Monday morning to everybody. I hope all is okay. It was weird. I must confess, this never happens. If there's a storm, like my power's out. I live in East Memphis, my power goes. Like it could be slight rain, power goes. And I'm watching Keegan Bradley yesterday. I'm watching all these storm reports. Be careful, hail's coming, hail that could damage cars, 60-mile-an-hour gusts. And we got nothing. Nothing. Thank goodness. I appreciate that this time my little pocket in East Memphis was spared, but that's not the case for many. There are plenty of people, Germantown, Collierville, that are without power this morning. I know Colonial Country Club, I had no idea, but it had to close, no power clubhouse, no power pro shop, limbs all over the golf course. They had to close everything up. And so there apparently was a great deal of damage that was done. And for those that are without power, and there are a lot, I was watching on the Today Show, about 1 million people across America because of the heat wave. This has nothing to do with this storm. Because of the heat wave are without power. It's crazy. And this stuff, I played golf yesterday. I will confess, like an idiot. I played when it felt like 111. It's really hot out there. We'll ask Ted Butler if he's got any clues as to what you should do when you play in this kind of heat. He'll probably tell us not to play. But Ted will be here at 10:45. You know who's in the transfer portal? J-Mo.
I did see the kid from Alabama, the guard from Alabama, isn't that right?
The starting point guard, who was a 5-star that started at Villanova. Javon Quinterly is his name. So he has entered the transfer portal, and he won't have to wait around for any kind of waiver from the NCAA because he has graduated. He is a grad transfer. So this will be his third school. Wherever he will go, he dropped out of the NBA draft, became a grad transfer. Could he be headed to Memphis?
Have to wait and see, I guess.
Jason Munns will let us know what he thinks coming up. I guess there is flexibility. I saw Penny, by the way, on Saturday at a golf course that I won't disclose because I don't think that would be fair. And I asked him about what's going on, and he basically says he has a lot of flexibility. So who knows about Malco? Who knows about Jordan Brown, the big kid from Louisiana? We'll talk with Jason Munns about that. Why did Chandler Lawson transfer? Also, I think Munzie was the one that broke the story about KD and the Golden State Warriors not having an Exhibit 10 contract and everything of that nature. So we'll go with that. You know, I want you to look this up really quick, J-Mo. What is an Exhibit 10 contract? I believe that it is a 1-year minimum contract, minimum wage contract, rookie minimum wage, that can revert to a two-way player. Is that accurate?
That's correct, but it has to be done before the season starts. Like, you have to make the decision whether or not they're going to be a two-way guy or you're going to just keep them on that minimum salary deal in the NBA all year for the season. But for now, you can just say it's a lot of flexibility, like you said.
Is that what happened with Lester Quinones? He ended up a two-way guy, but he was...
No, was he a two-way guy, though? He was strictly signed to the G League team, I believe.
Okay.
And so
then he became a two-way guy at the end of the year because he had this killer G League year, right? He was actually on the bench for the playoffs.
I believe okay, that could be true. That could be true. I got to look into that because I know sometimes they'll just sign him to the 10-day as well.
I think that could have been. But I'm pretty sure he ended up being a two-way guy for them in the end. But here's the thing. With that Exhibit 10, if you sign that contract, you get guaranteed 1 year, right, of minimum wage? Or does that you have to make the team before the season starts to get that minimum? Because that minimum, do you know what the rookie minimum wage in the NBA is if you are an Exhibit 10 player that makes it?
I don't.
It's $975,000. We're talking $1 million.
I think you get to make that whether or not they decide.
So if you sign an Exhibit 10 contract, you're guaranteed $975,000?
That's correct. And
Wow.
there's no bonuses. There's nothing attached to it. There's no incentives or anything like that. That's just the money you get.
There is no chance that if Kendrick Davis was offered an Exhibit 10 contract, he would have taken it because he would have gotten $1 million. Who's going to turn down $1 million? You're not getting that in Europe. You're not getting that as a two-way guy.
See, I think Kendrick could maybe make that in Europe, truly. I think he's a high enough.
$1 million?
Yeah, I think he's a high enough prospect where he could be signed to a good enough league where he can make that money.
Wow.
Certainly, maybe the opportunity to make it, if not in his rookie year, in his second year in whatever league he exists in. But who knows? I'm not sure. But you have to think he would be offered at least an Exhibit 10 contract. Former Player of the Year in one of the 6 biggest leagues in college basketball. You could say, I'll throw A-10 in there, 7, 8, or whatever. He's Player of the Year in the league. I mean, you have to think he was at least offered an Exhibit 10, right?
If he was, I don't know why you would turn that down.
Well, that's true, too.
Here's the interesting aspect. Like, it used to be the only guaranteed contracts were first-round guys. Second-round guys didn't even get guaranteed contracts. Now, if you get a second-round guaranteed contract, I guess you're going to make $1 million, right? Because we know that's the minimum wage, $975,000. That's the minimum rookie wage. So if you get drafted second round, I think you're guaranteed that money, aren't you? Unless you get cut right away.
Yeah, I think there is guaranteed money available for players in the second round, but I believe that isn't there a scenario where you don't get guaranteed a contract if you're picked in the second round, like maybe outside of the top 50.
But you're telling me if you sign an Exhibit 10, you're guaranteed.
That's right. So that's a great point.
Is Exhibit 10 more valuable than a second-round draft pick?
No, but I think those last 10 or so picks are essentially equivalent to an Exhibit 10 contract, and so maybe teams are just taking more of those. It's like if there was still a third and fourth round, that's what this is here.
But there would be 30 of those, right? Because you got to figure each team, especially with 3 two-ways now, can sign Exhibit 10s. So, maybe an Exhibit 10 is the third round. Maybe that's the way we should look at it. Remind me that is one of the things we will ask Andy Schiffman on Friday. Were you at all interested in the USFL semifinals this weekend? Did you watch any of it?
I didn't watch any of it, but I did follow the score. So I don't know what level of interest that is, but at least a little bit interested, certainly.
Well, Birmingham is clearly the team to beat. They beat the heck out of New Orleans 47-22, and the game was not as close as the score says. And Pittsburgh, which is still under 500, is in the championship game. They beat Michigan in overtime. They do overtime a weird way. You have 3 tries, I think, from the 2-yard line. If you make 2 of them, that's it. And then it was weird. I did not watch it, but Pittsburgh is now going to take on Birmingham. I'm thinking if I were setting the line on this, it would have to be 18 points, right? Something like that.
I would think so.
Do you know what Skip Holtz is in 2 years as the coach of Birmingham?
What?
He's 20-3. I think somebody asked him, now that you've had this great run, and what do those coaches make? $250,000?
Yeah, it can't be. I'd be surprised if it's even that much, quite honestly.
I think it's $250,000. I think it is. I don't really know either. But I think somebody told me that was about the neighborhood. If you get that on a Google, I'm amazed.
Their figures indicate they most likely are paid within the $50,000 to $100,000 range per season, but they could be given bonuses for high performance and other team incentives.
Well, he's going to get the most because he's only lost 3 games out of 23. And he won the championship last year, so I don't know what more bonuses you get. I'm surprised it's that little. Now, he's 60 years old. He's been a head coach, I think, at the collegiate level for over 20 years. So probably he does not need money. But he was asked about, now can you parlay this success going back to college to be a head coach? And he basically said, are you crazy? I'm not going back to having to recruit and come up with NIL money.
I mean, it's truly a trend that you're seeing with college coaches. I've noticed this too over the past couple of years. There used to be a lot of back and forth, especially with assistants that are willing to go back and coach in college if it's with a coach that they have a relationship with or vice versa. But the trend of the past 2 or 3 years since NIL's gotten really big is those guys are all darting to be support staff in the NFL and have no real reason to go back to college. It's just such a daunting task at this point.
I will tell you this, and Ryan Silverfield has shared this with me. There's no time off. Like, he might have a week in the middle, like right now, and that's about it, because you're constantly trying to raise money for NIL, dealing with players that are entering the portal, and then you regular game stuff that you got to do. It's a demanding job. It used to be where you got to work 60 hours during the season. I'm not sure when the season's over, you're still not working 40 to 60 for let's just say 11 months. I'll give you a month with some days here and there. But, I mean, it's a tireless job. It's hard. You make good money, but you have no life. You really don't. And so I could say I thought they made more than that, though, 50 to 100. But it is only 15 weeks.
It also says that can't be verified, so it could be from the beginning of last year. They just weren't sure, and that's evolved over time. Yeah. I'm not sure. So, but that's what a quick Google search has said, at least.
And then, Skip Holtz is an interesting guy. His father, of course, was famous not only as a coach, but as a TV broadcaster. We never hear anything about him. I wonder if he's healthy, what the heck is going on with Lou Holtz, because he's never even asked about Lou. I've never seen it. It's wild, because that was about as up front and center a guy, Lou Holtz, as you could find, and now he's like nowhere to be found.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen Lou Holtz since he left.
I've seen a story about Lou Holtz.
He left ESPN. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Oh, he was awarded a presidential medal a couple years ago, I believe.
Well, that would have been by Trump, because he is a right-wing guy.
Oh, is he?
Oh, yeah.
Well, there you go then.
Conservative.
That was the last time we saw him. Had to be.
Better put it that way. I'm sitting in the Family Leisure Studios, and we got to get an update, because June 25th is today, right? And that means the sale ends today, which is the Come Out and Play sale. Well, school's out. Come out and play in your own backyard. Why not? With pools starting at $2,500. Play gyms 30% off. In-stock spas and patio furniture, state-of-the-art. With $1,000 off if you get something in-house, and there's special financing available. This, on paper, is the last. I got to call Billy and Lindsay and find out what's going on. But right now, go cash in. Do it today at Family Leisure. Our title sponsors, Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch. They still have that deal that I know of. You can get a brand new G70, the smaller sedan, the Genesis car full of luxury. That's a rocket ship. It's a really cool car. $1,000 off on a rebate if you finance with Genesis, and it's a good rate. So why wouldn't you? They're literally paying you to do business with them at the great Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis. On Mondays, we do this every week. We do a thing we like to call precious metals. I got a couple of bronzes. One to Keegan Bradley. We'll talk a little bit more about that with Ted Butler. But, he's a kid from New England. First, as a fan, the first tournament he ever went to was the Travelers, in Hartford. And he's a guy, big Boston dude, big New Englander. I mean, they were going crazy for him. He was the star of the show. This would be like in Memphis, Doug Barron, Sean McKeel, any Memphis guy who played on the tour, Lauren Roberts, played on the tour and were winning at Southwind. That's what it was like at Hartford. And he won. It's his sixth PGA Tour win. It's, by the way, the second this year, which has got him in the FedEx Cup points like fifth or sixth now. He vaulted up. But he had his two little kids. It was a good story. So Keegan Bradley, with his sixth PGA Tour win, gets one bronze. The other goes to 901 FC. 901FC's on fire, ladies and gentlemen.
Did you see the opposing goalie tripping? Did you see that video? The opposing
I have
goalie
not
tripping
seen it, but
fall?
I read about it.
Poor
he
guy.
misjudged it. He went down, and then it fell at the feet of Rashawn Dowling.
Yeah, they zoomed in on him. Almost looked like he was trying to deke the offensive player, but he ended up just, his eyes got real big and he tripped and fell over, and the ball literally right at the feet of the 901FC player. Easy goal. Poor guy.
Yeah.
Poor guy. And he used to be the 901FC goalie, I
Yes,
believe.
he was.
Oh, poor guy.
Well,
no.
So what's cool about this is, and I'll be honest with you, I've talked now a couple times with Stephen Glass, the new coach. He's delightful, but I loved Ben Pierman, and Ben Pierman changed everything for 901FC. I mean, they finished second last year. They made the playoffs. They won a series. All that happened under Ben Pierman's watch. He was a heck of a coach. Goes to Charleston, which was a terrible team. They've been leading the Eastern Conference most of this year. And what a week it was for 901FC. They probably deserve more than the bronze, because they beat Charleston and their old coach 3-2 in a comeback win. You mentioned one of the goals. They have now, after an 0-2 start, they are unbeaten in their last 12 games. They've won 6 out of their last 7. Last week, they had 2 wins and a tie, a draw, in 3 games in 7 days. That's grueling, especially with the heat the way it is. So they got 7 points in 1 week. That's incredible. They're now tied for second in the USL East, and they got 2 games on hand on Pittsburgh, which leads the division. So if they were to win those 2, they would be in first place. In fact, if they won those 2, they'd have the best winning percentage of any team in the entire USL, East or West. So Stephen Glass, after a 0-2 start, man, things have really changed, and they are cruising now. I think they get a little time off before their next game, but what a week for 901FC. Silver medal goes to Freddie Freeman, the Dodgers first baseman, who yesterday had his 2,000th hit. You know, I think he leads the National League in doubles. He's 33. So he's now the 6th active player, which shows you the health of the game right now with stars. 6th active player with 2,000 hits. A lot of good players out there. 6 players, 2,000 hits still playing. He's the 295th player all time to get to 2,000. The question is, because there's not many of these, can he get to 3,000 hits?
There's one of those actively playing. Miggy.
Yeah. He's 33, needs 1,000. I think it was 1,800 games he's played in to get to 2,000. 900 games would be how many years at 160? Can he? Man, you know, if he stays active till he's 40, he can make it.
Be another 4,000 plate appearances at this rate. Which would be that's quite a bit of plate appearances, I think.
I'd say it's shaky, but there is a chance. Like we'd have to assign 100-to-1 odds on that.
Maybe even more. I'm not sure.
All right. Freddie Freeman gets my silver medal, and my gold goes to the Florida baseball team. I mean, this World Series has really been interesting. You get a great matchup in Game 1. In Game 1, LSU's pitcher Ty Floyd, 17 strikeouts. Fabulous game. I think it goes 11 innings, right? 4-3. That's your final. LSU is a winner. Florida, with their backs up against the wall. What do? They score 24 runs. 24-4. That's the most ever in a College World Series game. They had 23 hits, of which 6 were home runs. They should have saved some. It was the second largest margin of victory ever in the College World Series. And tonight is Game 3. Now, with the way this thing is going, doesn't that entice you to want to watch that game tonight?
A 1-1 tie. All you got to do is watch one game. I'm in. Count me in.
I'm in too. No question.
I watched Game 1 as well.
I want to watch
Game 1 was excellent too.
Yeah.
Obviously, 24-run game is excellent. I mean, a lot of hits at least, but the one
it was never in doubt.
Yeah, it was never in doubt. That's right. The first game was an excellent back and forth. That's all your medals?
That's it till my rust.
Okay, my bronze medal goes to the one you just named, Florida, 24 runs.
That's only a bronze?
And say no more. They have to be, Dave, because my silver medal goes to the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, who scored 25 runs, so one more than Florida. 13 runs in the third inning of that game. That is incredible. I can't even imagine being a fielder having to stand out there for the entirety of that. That sounds miserable. And my gold medal goes to Yuri Perez. He's a rookie pitcher for the Marlins, and he has been unbelievable. His last 3 outings, he's allowed 9 hits, 2 walks, 24 strikeouts, and no runs. He's gone 6 innings in each of those games. In the month of June, he has a 0.32 ERA and an 0.82 WHIP. Opponents are hitting 170 against him. He has been lights out. He very well could be one of the top 15 pitchers in baseball next year.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but most of your youth you spent in Minnesota, correct?
No. Memphis. I grew up in Memphis.
But after you left, you went to Minnesota and then to Alabama for college.
Texas and then Alabama.
Oh, Texas. There's no Miami in there. Why do you love all these
Miami
Miami teams?
This isn't a love, Dave. This isn't a love. This is just this guy is performing at the highest level, and he deserved the gold medal today.
All right.
There's no love involved.
All right.
I'm a newsman.
So you mentioned the 25 runs, right?
I did.
I give a rust to the Colorado Rockies pitching staff. Not only did they give up 25 runs, they gave up 28 hits. It was 23-0 into the 4th inning. I think there was a 13-run inning in there.
Yeah, 3rd inning, 13 runs.
And it's crazy. How bad is that pitching? How many pitchers? I meant to look this up in the box score. I saw the inning breakdown. How many pitchers did the Rockies use in this game?
Not enough. Had to be a position player, too. I'll look it up.
5 runs they gave up. 23-0 after 4 innings. That's the worst I have ever seen in a major league game.
The Rockies only used 4 pitchers in the game.
Oh, they just decided, we don't care. We're going to lose this game.
2 of them gave up 9 earned and double-digit hits.
Oh, my gosh. They just said, we've lost this game. Who cares?
They just called it quits today. We're not going to waste all the pitchers on a game we know we lost.
Yeah.
And it'd be a smart play.
That is the case. Ooh,
my rust today, maybe it's not deserving of rust. I found this super interesting, though. I read an article this morning in the Washington Post about Shams Charania when he tweeted something about the draft, how much it swung lines for FanDuel. And he's employed by FanDuel.
That's conflict of interest. I've seen this story.
They didn't say that there was anything felonious going on, but obviously, I mean, you don't have to be an expert to see how it very well could be. The door is wide open for something like that. And there's a great tweet in the story from a guy named Haralabos Vargolis. He used to be a member of the Dallas Mavericks front office, and he says this: I don't think there's anything nefarious going on, but I find it puzzling that a regulated sports book is allowed to take bets on the NBA draft and can also employ a quote-unquote insider who can report and tweet nonsense that move the betting markets. So I think it's a great point.
And I believe it was between Brandon Miller and Scoot Henderson.
That's right.
For the second pick.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say, and I don't want to be incorrect like Shams was, but Shams had said everything had swung to Henderson becoming the number 2 guy.
Correct.
So that prompted a lot of betting on his own site to change from Miller to Henderson, and they said all along in Charlotte, no, Brandon Miller was that guy the whole time. We have no idea why Shams changed his mind on that.
It's a very compelling. I urge everybody to go read it. It's very interesting about how you get your information and reporting in the modern day of sports.
Right. If it looks like it's too good to be true when you get information, it's too good to be true, and it's not the book that's going to lose, folks. I'll just tell you that for future endeavors. And those are our precious metals. They're brought to you by Conway. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, and, of course, that famous tune-up, which is so critical right now. I don't want you to not have air conditioning when it's this hot. We're in the middle of a heat wave. Now, some of you, and my heart goes out to you, can't have power. So there's nothing that can be done there except for MLGW working their tails off, which I'm sure they are doing right now. But if you've got power and your system's not working, shame on you for not getting the preventative medicine, which is called the 16-point Energy Saver Super Tune-Up from Conway. $69. They come out, they go inside, they put the little slippers on, and they're going to tune up everything. 16 different points inside. They go outside and they clean up all the leaves, the dirt, the grime on those outside units, and then you're efficient. When you're efficient, you don't break down. Your energy bill goes down, and your system lasts longer. Please call 384-3511. Get that tune-up from Conway. Back in just 1 minute, Jason Munz on all the craziness. And by the way, I keep hearing the rumors. We got conference craziness going to happen this week. I guess TV deals are being sorted out. That might be something we'll be talking about later in the week. This is Sports Time. Oh, excuse me. I think that's like the first time I've made that mistake in how long?
I don't think I've ever heard you make that mistake before.
Man. I apologize, Stats, if you're listening. This is Wolo and Friends.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Looking for a new lawnmower? Golf Cars of Hernando has the Gravely line of zero-turn lawnmowers in stock, and they work on them. Looking for a new golf cart? Golf Cars of Hernando has Yamaha and Star brands of golf cars in stock, and they also service most makes and models of golf cars. Financing is available with applicable credit at Golf Cars of Hernando. Call today, 662-429-1566, 662-429-1566. Golf Cars of Hernando.
Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. Now that the warmer weather has arrived, let Choate's perform their $99 20-point AC tune-up to get your AC ready for the hot summer months ahead. Also, Choate's is offering our half-off 1 pound of Freon coupon on our website for you to use. Does your HVAC system need to be replaced? If so, right now is an excellent time to take advantage of Carrier's 60 months, no-interest financing on select systems. Want to improve your indoor air quality? Choate's is also offering our new ABCO air purifier for $100 off when you get your air ducts cleaned. UV technology sterilizes biological contaminants and neutralizes odors and toxic VOCs. Match that technology with getting your air ducts cleaned, and you'll have the indoor air quality your family needs. Better call 347-8086 today. These specials won't last long. Turn to the experts with Choate's and let our family serve your family.
All 650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles, 20 cents excess mileage, K5 PG 211,771, MSRP 26,152, Sportage P17 3696, MSRP 27,077, EV6 P560 3394, MSRP 50,325. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offers valid through 6/30/23. Dealer stock only. Warranties and limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
Hey, Jeff Allen, I hear the summer sales event is up and ready to command the road at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah.
You heard right, Randy. The summer sales event is bringing you the World Performance Car. 2023 Kia EV6 Wind EPA estimate range 310 miles, now $499 a month, $49.99 due at signing. Plus a 2023 Kia Sportage LX, only $288 a month, $34.99 due at signing. And a luxury 2023 Kia K5 LXS, $299 a month, $31.99 due at signing. All 36-month lease.
And you always get Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
2680 Mount Moriah or KiaMountMoriah.com.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
If you are going to play golf today, like at Miramichi, make sure you hydrate. I always bring one of those big ice things, put lots of water in there. They got water all over the golf course. They're very careful out at Miramichi. If you don't know, that's in Woodstock. It's about 12 minutes north of downtown. It's 18 holes of beauty. It's 18 holes of competition. If you go after 12 o'clock, it's $10 off the weekday price. And then if you go after 3, it's $13 off the price. They are always finding ways to entice you. Best practice facilities, and I'm telling you, 5 different tee boxes means that you can dictate just how much challenge you want. This is the truth. There's beauty everywhere. It's a great, beautiful golf course, now in fantastic shape. Go head out to Miramichi. We head down south, I think, not too far, where our friend Jason Munz lives. He's with us now. So this is a great story. Jason, I just saw this on Twitter. This tells you how much money you get with NIL, especially if you go to Kentucky. So DJ Wagner, which is our friend DeJuan Wagner's son, the grandson of Milt Wagner, who was a coach here with John Calipari. And we used to love to battle with him when Keith Lee's Memphis teams would go up against him and Scooter McRae. So DJ Wagner's committed to Kentucky. He just donated. Here's a young man, going to be a freshman in college, right? Just left Camden High School. He donated $75,000 to his high school. How much money is he getting from Calipari in the NIL? Good morning, Jason Munns.
Good morning to you, Wolo. That news would suggest that whether it's coming directly from Calipari in Kentucky or not, that would suggest that $75,000 is a drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
Compared to exactly what he's raking in. But yeah, I mean, he's one of the, if he's not the number one overall prospect in his class, he's certainly one of the top two or three. And so yeah, I would imagine that. But regardless of everything else, that is a wonderful story and should be, hopefully, you hope that influences others to, do similar things. I mean, I think that's, it's fantastic.
So the big news this week is that Javon Quinterly, who was a 5-star prospect, started his career at Villanova, transferred and played at Alabama last year, got hurt, came back, did not start all the time, although he did start at the end of the year in postseason. And there were people thinking he was going to the NBA. He dropped out of the NBA draft, now has graduated. So he can enter the transfer portal and not worry about any waivers. He's basically a free agent in the portal, signed, sealed, and delivered immediately wherever he chooses to go. What are the odds he's coming to Memphis, Jason Munns?
So I had heard late last week, I hadn't heard a name, but I had heard a basic profile of somebody that was not yet in the portal, that was, could be going in soon, and it would be pertinent to Memphis. And as I learned shortly after Javon Quinterly entered the portal, I learned that he was indeed the one who I had been told about. And so that, you put those two things together, you put some of the other things together, like you started seeing on Twitter last night, that Memphis is in a good spot and the writing is on the wall, kind of, that Memphis is the leader in the clubhouse as it stands, or as it stood last night. That it wasn't a done deal, but that at the very least, Memphis was in a very good position. So I would say, it's still early. I would say the odds are in Memphis's favor. I would say it's certainly better than 50-50, if not, 75-25, something like that. Memphis has a need for a seasoned point guard, and that's exactly what Javon Quinterly is. He's an older player. He spent a year at Villanova, sat out a season at Alabama, and played the last 3 years there. So he'd be going into his sixth, right? Isn't that what that is? Yeah, he'd be going into his sixth year of college.
Well, because of COVID, we should point out, and this is the case they're making with DeAndre Williams, you basically, in almost every era, it has been you have 5 years to play 4. Because of the COVID era, which I think comes to an end after this year, you have 6 years to play 5, right?
Right. Yep. Anybody who was in school when, during that academic year, what would it be, the 1920 year? Anybody who was in school during that academic season gets
extra year.
Gets an extra year, yeah. So that's the deal with Quinterly.
That's what he would get. That's what DeAndre Williams would get. Yeah, this is amazing because a couple of weeks ago, really had no point guard. What the heck were you going to do? Now, if you get this guy and you got the kid from UCF, all of a sudden you're too deep at that position.
and in really good shape. I mean, those are two. Like, if you had to go into the season with Jalen Young as your point guard, I don't think it's ideal. I think a lot of people will be grumbling about it, but I don't. But personally, I think people aren't giving Jalen Young enough credit. I think he is.
What
capable.
What year is he?
He'd be a senior.
So he'd be a senior. Would he have 2 years left or one?
Let me think about that. I think he might have. He spent his first season at Grambling, and then I think he played 2 seasons at a community college and 1 at UCF. So I think he would have
only
one.
have
season.
1. Okay.
Yeah.
So you'd have both those guys. This would be their last year.
Yeah, and that's you could. The point is, like with those two, you'd be hard pressed to find a more veteran, a position group in all of college basketball as your starter and your primary backup. So, shortly after Quinn Hurley's name popped up and into the portal, it didn't take long for some other schools to start to, throw their hat in the ring. Miami, I heard. Auburn, I heard. So it's not going to be just handed to Memphis. Like that's, people need to understand that.
Does this come down to how much money you can get NIL-wise?
Oh, I think it always. I mean, almost always. I think if this off season has taught us anything, it's that. It's that it pretty much, it pretty much always comes down to that. So, I've heard that is a factor in what Javon Quinterly, like his decision-making process. I've heard that's certainly a factor. I don't know how much or how little it is, but yeah, I would certainly think that that's part of it. And if it is, and Miami's in the mix, well then, it's going to be a dogfight.
Do they still have that crazy guy that's giving out money to everybody?
As far as I know, I haven't heard any different.
Wow. All right. Well, it is interesting. Penny's name gets you in on every big name guy.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it used to be Penny's name, the ability, the hope that he can get you in the NBA was all you needed. Now you got to have cash because that's really, in the end, it's like what we've always known through history. It always comes down to the money.
That's right. That's the bottom line. And for most, it's not for all, but for most, that is the that's where the buck stops. No pun intended.
All right. So we'll see if this team is shaping up. Obviously, you still don't know about Mikey Williams or DeAndre Williams. What's happening with Jordan Brown? What's happening with Malcolm Dandridge?
So I would be. The way Penny talked about Malcolm Dandridge at the last time he spoke publicly to reporters, which was a couple of weeks ago, the way he talked about Malcolm, I would be very surprised if Malcolm is not back in a Memphis uniform for his final season. I think A, there's a need, and B, I think he doesn't. I don't think he wants to leave. I think he, Penny said it himself. He wanted to kind of see what else was out there. I think he got out there. He took a visit to St. Louis. We know that. I'm not sure he's taken any other visits, though. I think St. Louis is the only visit. Maybe he took a visit to Western Kentucky. I heard something about that. But the fact that he has not committed to either one of those schools, and there's been some time that has passed since then, tells me that that the odds are increasing that he is going to be back at Memphis. And now, as far as Jordan Brown, he has there's interest in like on both sides. Memphis wants him. He wants Memphis. Basically, what I've been told. But he's got some academic things that he has to clear up.
Well, he has to be a grad student because this guy started at Nevada, where he was the newcomer of the year or freshman of the year.
In the Mountain West,
the Mountain West. Then he went to the Pac-12.
Where he was the sixth man of the year there.
Sixth man of the year there. These are both pretty good leagues, particularly the Pac-12, obviously.
Yep.
So this guy's a quality player. God, how
He
do you
was the Lou
how do you
Henson- he was-
fall between the cracks academically when you're making all these transfers? You've been to all these schools. How does that happen?
Well, a lot of times it can boil down to miscommunication. Like if like let's say Jordan Brown thought all along that all he had to do, like let's say he was his advisor or somebody told him that all you got to do is show up. Like, don't worry about anything else. Just make sure you're there for roll call. And I mean, I'm saying that, not saying that's what's going on with this, but
right.
I think it's a hypothetical that I think is realistic. And so they just show up, and then that's not. As it turns out, that's not all they had to do. They had to actually take the test, and do the assignments, and all that stuff. So that could be, something that is going on with Jordan Brown, or maybe he was going all along this whole time thinking he wasn't going to transfer. Maybe the idea of transferring only just now came on the table, and when it did, he realized, I'm going to have to, I'm not going to be able to transfer again without graduating, so I better get my act together and really put the pedal down. And so, but yeah, I think that's what's holding that up. But I would be very surprised if, and it's a big if, but if Jordan Brown is able to get his academic affairs in order, I would be very surprised if he's not, if he doesn't wind up in Memphis.
Wow. This team is going to come together at the last second. It could really be a good team the way it is shaping up. All right, last thing for our beat reporter from the Commercial Appeal, Jason Munns. What happened with Chandler Lawson? What do you think prompted him to leave?
Well, I mean, okay, so my first thought is Jonathan left.
But that was a long time ago.
It was. But I think that this is just, I don't have any inside info on this. I haven't talked to Chandler. I haven't talked to Keelan or anybody about this. But this is just what my gut tells me, is that once Jonathan left, it became real to Chandler that, if Jonathan wasn't going to be here, then Chandler didn't necessarily want to be here. They didn't necessarily want to be together, obviously, or else Chandler would have transferred to Creighton.
Or maybe Craig McDermott didn't really want to have Chandler. Yeah, no, that's I guess that's possible. But who knows? But and then on top of that, on top of just the possibility of being faced with the possibility of not having Jonathan here, also the prospect of DeAndre Williams coming back and having to go up against that for your last year of eligibility. But also, as we saw, how quickly the timeline, if you go back and look at the timeline, he pops into the portal one day, 2 days later, he's in Fayetteville on a visit. 2 days after that, he's committed. Like that, those dominoes fell really, really quickly. And so it would lead some to assume that there were conversations being had, behind the scenes. And most likely he had to pass classes to become a grad student, right? I'm guessing the first semester of summer school is winding down, and he probably passed whatever he had to. Now he's eligible to move without a waiver. Maybe that was the plan all along.
It's possible. Put it all together, and I think that's somewhere in there lies the truth, but we may never know.
Yeah. Wow. There's always craziness. In fact, there could be even more craziness this week because we might have conference expansion, right? Big 12
seems to always be hovering, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, Pac-12 is going to get their TV deal done. There's going to be trickle down. It's crazy. But that's what makes summers so exciting. You and I are both off next week, so we will reconvene here in 2 weeks. Once again, I thank you for your participation. It's always interesting.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, Wolo.
You got it. That is our man, our beat writer from the Commercial Appeal on Tiger Hoops, that and more and that is Jason Muntz. He's brought to you by the good folks at Grind City. Go check out the new logo, and then, of course, while you're looking at that logo, you're going to be enticed to get just what the doctor ordered, the Pilsner, Poppy's Pills. Maybe it's the Godhopper. Those are all famous. That's the pale ale. New, the Thaddeus Amber Lager. New, the Belgian-style wheat ale like Blue Moon. It's really good. You'll love it all. I love Tiger Tails. That's the craft malt liquor that is not like your father's malt liquor, I promise. Grind City was the dream of a father and son several years ago. It's a beautiful dream. It's made it. Go check out the brewery. It is just north of downtown. Perfect view of the bridge, M Bridge. Really nice outside grounds with tents and picnic tables. And then the brewery itself is beautiful. Go. Stock up at any of the spirit shops, too. You'll love everything about the product at Grind City Brewing. Back in a minute, we talk some golf with our guru. That's Ted Butler. He's next.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Have you heard about the game-changing jewelry store that's now open in Memphis and Poplar Commons? It's Genesis Diamonds. Genesis Diamonds, started by former diamond wholesalers who decided to stop selling jewelry to the stores and start selling direct to the public. No middleman, no nonsense, no pricing games, no pushy salespeople. It's the only store here with a nationwide low price guarantee, and the selection is mind-blowing. Hand-picked diamonds in all shapes and sizes, from a half carat to 20 carats, and case after case of earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets, and the most impressive selection of luxury pre-owned Rolexes in the state of Tennessee. If you're getting engaged or thinking of jewelry for any occasion, your timing is perfect. The nation's leading direct diamond importer has finally arrived in Memphis with values you never thought possible. Come see why Genesis Diamonds has been voted best jeweler and best place to buy an engagement ring for 13 straight years and has never lost a sale due to price, selection, or quality. Genesis Diamonds, now open in Poplar Commons.
Look out Mid-South, because at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike, inventory is arriving daily and we're ready to put you in a new ride today. Need extra room this vacation? Get 7 seats, 27 MPG combined in your new 2023 Mitsubishi Outlander Black ED SUV, $449 a month. Or the White Diamond 2023 Outlander SE, $33,085 or $499 a month. And the winner takes all in 2023 Mitsubishi Outlander Plug-in Hybrid PHEV, 420 total range, 64 combined MPGe, 38-minute best charging time, $790 $95 a month. And you'll always get Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. That's Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
20 cents excess mileage. Outlander PZ012158, MSRP 34555. Outlander SE PZ041164, MSRP 35585. PHEV PZ040302, 24-month, 12,000 miles per year. MSRP 48230. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695. Excludes tax filing license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month. Dealer stock only.
Baseball season is in full swing, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. Just go to FanDuel.com/win to join today. You could bet the spread, money lines, player props, and the over-under on runs, all with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So don't miss your chance to snag a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 when you join FanDuel today. Just go to FanDuel.com/win to sign up. FanDuel, official partner of Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission.
21 plus and present in Tennessee. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call TN Redline 1-800-889-9789.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled, and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. 5 Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 5 Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5 Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Golf season's definitely here. If you're out at Miramichi, let's say, and you hear the word 4 from 2 fairways away, could be it's Sheldon Rosengarten. Sheldon loves golf. Says he can't wait to be 90 so he can shoot in his age. I love that line. But he can't practice because he's always working for you. He's got this strategic marketing program that really gets you so quickly to the closing table for the best price. It's about preparation, presentation, price. He does it all. And the market changes, but he's working 24/7, keeping up with those changes. He knows exactly what to do for you, and he's so confident about what he can do. He'll say, talk to 2 or 3 real estate brokers, make sure he's one of them. Then you'll want him because he will make you the most money the quickest. Get to the closing table by calling 483-0546 or go to MemphisRelocate.com. Speaking of golf, a guy who could teach Sheldon Rosengarten, that would be our friend Ted Butler, who joins us now. I played in the heat yesterday. At like around 2 o'clock, I bent down to put my tee in the ground, and I almost got dizzy. I mean, it was that hot. What tips have you got for anybody playing during this heat wave, Ted Butler?
Well, it's pretty scary. You know, if you're not used to it, a lot of the doctors I teach, they say to hydrate well before you play. You know, an hour or so before you play, make sure you get hydrated. Take a ice cooler with you, water bottles, and a couple of towels so that you can kind of cool off. And make sure you can slice it on purpose anytime you want to get in the woods and get in the shade. Because it was not your turn to hit, you know, right along in the shade. Because it's dangerous. I mean, when it gets this hot.
I like that. So hit a shot
on purpose
into the woods and say, I did that to get cool. I like that idea.
That's right. Absolutely.
That's really good. Tell you a guy who did not slice it, did not do anything terrible. That was Keegan Bradley, who actually had a 6-stroke lead, 12 holes through yesterday's final round in Hartford at the Traditions. What's going on with him? He's won twice now this year. Keegan Bradley, that was great.
Well,
at the Travelers. I said Traditions. I was thinking Travelers. Correct myself. Go ahead.
Well, he tried to make it interesting. You know, he won 40-some holes in a row without making a bogey, and then made 3 in a row down the stretch. You know, he's trying to let somebody back in, but he's from up there, and you know, you go back to your own hometown and play golf. And the course was playing really simple. You know, kind of soft, and greens are perfect, and these guys shoot 20 under par in conditions like that. He was on his game, played really well again.
Yeah, I don't. He said he had his coach come in this past week, and it's something just seemed to click with him. And you know, you're right about, you know, this would be like Doug Barron, Sean McKeel, John Daly, Lauren Roberts winning here at TPC. That's what it was kind of like for Keegan Bradley to win in Hartford the way that he did. I think that's extraordinarily tough because I can't remember many times. The one kid was David Gossett, believe it or not, on a Friday.
Gossett, right.
When he was between high school and Texas, the University of Texas, where he on a Friday, I think, was atop the leaderboard. Either Thursday or Friday, atop the leaderboard.
Yeah, you shot a 66. Yeah, you did. I remember.
But otherwise, I don't remember anybody from here really performing incredibly well. You know, maybe Dr. Kerry Middlecoff did. Did he ever win in Memphis? I don't remember a local guy doing well since I got here in '81 at his local tournament.
I don't either, because I played 4 times in the tournament and never really did well. I think it was maybe a little nervy. You know, you're in hometown, a bunch of people following you around, and a couple of times I played was Colonial South, and it was just a brutal golf course from those back tees. But locally, it's hard to perform in front of your friends and family.
Well, you're worried about tickets. You're worried about people's,
Right.
family coming in to see. I mean, I think it's really distracting. I don't know. Middlecoff might have been who like back in the day. Curtis Person, I know. Did he ever play as an amateur in the local tournament?
He played. He played at Old Colonial one time in the Pro-Am and shot 64. He didn't play in the tournament itself, but he was in the Pro-Am, and I think Hillman might have played. Middlecoff surely has won some tournaments back when he was here. He's going back a long ways.
Right. But in the modern era, at Colonial or at TPC Southwind, I don't remember a local other than David Gossett of all the guys that ever really had a lead at the local tournament. That includes Bobby Cochran, David Hauser, who you taught, all those guys, all those young guys that were trying to get on the tour, Casey Wittenberg. They never did.
Nope. Well, like I said, it's tough at home. A lot of reasons. The ticket friends, your friends want tickets, and you don't want to embarrass yourself. It's hard to do.
Yeah. All right. Once again, we saw Scotty Scheffler finish third. Oh, wait. Take that back. What did he finish?
Tied for fourth, right?
Tied for fourth.
Or maybe tied for third. You might have been right at first. No, tied for fourth. That's right.
Tied for fourth. Yeah, because Keegan Bradley, Zach Blair, Brian Harmon, they were 1, 2, and 2, and then fourth was Scheffler with Cantlay, who made a late run, shot 67 yesterday. But Scheffler shot 65. He's been top 12 how many times in a row now?
18
times. Really quickly, look up, because we think it's in the 140s. The Tiger
142
Woods,
exactly. No, it's 142.
He made 142 cuts. But top 12, 18 times in a row. I mean, that's approaching that kind of craziness, right? I don't think 142 cuts made in a row will ever be broken.
Oh, no. Not in this day and age. No way.
Never be broken.
The leader right now is Xander Schauffele at 27.
Yeah, there's no chance.
That's crazy. It'll never be broken. But in its own way, this 18 times to be in the top 12, well, first of all, it's making him really rich. But that kind of consistency is absolutely amazing. Would you say at this point, if you had to pick one guy who was the mentally toughest guy in the game today, and we're not counting Tiger because he's not in the game today, would it be Scotty Scheffler?
I would think so, because he doesn't go away. You know, he'll have a bad round, he'll come back the next day and shoot 6 under, and this is all with not putting great. You know, if his putter had been on, he'd have probably won 6 times out of that 18. He's just the best ball striker on the planet right now, and he's a good man. Got no fear. He's really tough competitor.
Well, and you know, Rory, I don't know what Rory's streak of top 12 might be, but you know, he was 7th here.
He's there again too. Yeah. And even Fowler played good again.
It's just a matter of time before Rory really wins. I mean, he won a couple of times last year, right?
Won the FedEx Cup.
I think he's going to win at Hoy Lake, at the British. I really do.
He's won there once already. May do it again.
Yeah. Ted, thank you much.
Justin Thomas showing up.
Oh, yeah. Well, Justin Thomas, who shot 81 second round at the U.S. Open and turned around. He shot 62? Isn't that right? Yeah, I'd like to see him come back.
Fowler shot a little 60.
Yeah. How about Ricky Fowler? I mean, that's a great story, how he's gone from almost, no eligibility to top 30 again. That is a great story.
Cool stuff.
Cool stuff, and stay cool, Ted. Thank you much.
Okay.
By the way, 4th of July next week, we're off, so we'll talk to you in 2 weeks. How's that?
Okay, got it.
Thank you. That's our man. That is Ted Butler. He is brought to you in part by the Spirit Shop. Okay, weekend's over. You know that. Means you got to stock back up, maybe to watch the College World Series Game 3, the decider tonight between Florida and LSU. I advise you to go see my guy, Eddie Connor. I'm going to dinner with him Thursday night. Always love talking with him. He brings some great wines. He'll educate me. He'll educate you if you go in the store. He'll tell you about the great wines, about the average wines, about the up-and-coming wines. Maybe something's a bargain. Same thing with vodkas or bourbons or even tequila. Nobody knows more because Eddie Connor's been around this thing since '69. At that same spot, 4848 Poplar. That's Poplar in St. Nick, right down from Clark Tower. It's a little log cabin outside. Inside, cavernous and all kinds of products. You will love the service. You will love the education you get from Eddie Connor and Company at the Spirit Shop at Poplar in St. Nick. That'll do it for us. We'll see you again tomorrow. Johnny Radio is right around the corner. Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis.